Hi guys. So I just harvested my finished compost pile. It's right over here in this wheelbarrow. This dirt that you see is actually nice, thick, rich black compost. And I decided that it would be a good time while I'm building a new compost pile to show you guys how I'm building my compost piles and how I maintain them to get this. All right, let's just get right into it. First step in building a compost pile is getting the ingredients for it. Here's what I'm using here. I've got some leaves raked up from around the yard since it's fall and there's tons of them. I've got some over here, some larger weeds that I pulled out of my other garden bed. Here is a bunch of food scraps from the kitchen. We kept them in the freezer so that they didn't rot or start stinking. I've got some grass clippings from mowing the yard the other day. And over here in this bucket, I've got larger things that didn't break down from the last pile. So we're just going to chuck them into this pile and keep them going until they turn into compost. And here's where we're going to build the compost pile. This is a old playpen gate thing that was down in our basement for forever. We were going to throw it out, but I pulled it out of the garbage because I figured I could use it very easily for compost, and quite frankly, it works great for compost. Some people use pallets, some people use cinder blocks, but this old baby gates work just fine. Really anything to help keep the pile contained and in one neat little area for it to be easy to turn and just keep controlled. All right, so the first step to building the pile, I'm actually going to open it up so that you can see what I'm doing. All right. And I'm not putting anything down on the grass, I'm building it right on the grass. I haven't seen any difference from it, and it just adds more nitrogen to the pile because all of that grassy material will just get worked right in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the large weedy stuff. We're just going to take it, and we're just going to kind of loosen it up and shake it a bit right in there. Kind of break up any major clumps that you see. A nice layer, couple inches deep. Don't need it to be super thick. In fact, you don't want it to be super thick. Don't make any of your layers super thick. Next layer we're going to put in grass clippings. Warning on grass clippings. Don't make the layers super thick with them. They will clump and take forever to break down. Just take them and kind of sprinkle them in. Not super hard to do. You can wear gloves if you want. I don't like wearing gloves personally. And the gray stuff that you see, that's just leaf mold. These are all clippings that were sitting in a giant pile. Don't worry about it. Perfectly normal. So once you've got in a good layer of grass clippings, which are actually really wet, ew. Next layer I'm going to do is a bunch of dried up leaves. Take a handful. Voila. You can be a bit more generous with the leaves. Grass clippings, thin layers. Leaves, you can be a bit more generous. Next layer we're going to do is we're going to take a bag of those kitchen scraps. All plant-based, no animal products. And you're just going to take it, and dump it out right on top. Maybe spread them about a bit. Spread them around a little bit. English. And then you're just going to repeat. Take another layer of the grassy stuff. Couple more handfuls here. And you're just going to keep going like that until the pile's built up. And the old stuff from the last pile, we're just going to add in any old time. I'm just going to chunk it in right now. Nothing special. Don't need to do anything special with it, just toss them right in. And then you're just going to keep building the pile like that in layers until you run out of materials, or until your pile fills your little gate thing. A lot of people like to aim for a pile that's about 3 feet by 3 feet, which is about what this gate is, which is perfect. But you can go larger, you can go smaller. I find a 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot pile to be just right. I'm going to finish building this, and I'll show you the finished product. See you in a few minutes. Alright, and there you have it. That is the finished compost pile. Now, some people in these videos will tell you to water a bit between the layers to get it to about the moisture of a damp sponge, of a slightly wrung out sponge. I didn't bother doing that because the kitchen scraps were frozen and will be super wet once they thaw out. The grass clippings were also really wet, and it's also beginning to rain a little bit, so that'll add moisture to the pile. So once you have all that done, once you have the pile built up and all your supplies used and it's to the size that you want it, what you're going to do, I recommend building the pile with your little gate shut if it's shuttable. But if you have an open front, that's perfectly fine. Last thing you're going to do is, if you actually put water in it and moistened it yourself, what I like to do is I like to take an old black tarp. This is just a trash bag that I cut up, and you're just going to take it, you're going to put it over your pile, tuck it around the edges, and I have this little metal stake here that I just like to push right down into the center of the pile, just to keep the tarp on it and the wind and everything else. And there you have it. That is how you build a compost pile. I hope you learned something in this video. I hope you liked it. Give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see you in the next video. Now I'm gonna go get out of the rain. Out of the rain? I'm gonna go get in out of the rain. Bye guys.